This one here, there is no evidence that Russia put bounties on U.S. troops. The U.S. intel actually finally admits, this is from the Daily Beast here, it says U.S. intel walks back claims Russians put bounties on American troops. Oh. It says here, on Thursday, the Biden administration announced that U.S. intelligence only had low to moderate confidence in the story after all. Low to moderate confidence. Translated from the jargon of Spy World, that means the intelligence agencies found the story is at best unproven and possibly untrue. Says the United States intelligence community assesses with low to moderate confidence that Russian intelligence officers sought to encourage Taliban attacks on U.S. and coalition personnel in Afghanistan in 2019 and perhaps earlier, a senior administration official said. Goes on to say, significantly, the Biden team announced a raft of sanctions on Thursday, but those sanctions targeting Russia's sovereign debt market are prompted only by Russia's interference in the 2020 election and its alleged role in the SolarWinds cyber espionage, which, by the way, the Biden administration says they have high confidence in Russia being involved in. Says, we have noted our conclusion of the review that we conducted on the bounties issue, and we have conveyed through diplomatic, intelligence, and military channels strong, direct messages on this issue, but we are not specifically tying the actions we are taking today to that matter, a senior administration official told reporters in reference to the bounty claims. Says, according to the officials on Thursday's call, the reporting about the alleged bounties came from a detainee reporting, raising the specter that someone told their U.S.-aligned Afghan jailers what they thought was necessary to get out of a cage. So they lied to get out of jail. And they said, well, I'm going to give you something real juicy. The Russians, they've got bounties on you. Specifically, the official cited information and evidence of connections to criminal agents in Afghanistan and elements of the Russian government as sources for the intelligence community's assessment, but without additional corroboration. Such reporting is notoriously unreliable. Detainee reporting from a man known as Ibn Sheikh Al-Libi, extracted from torture, infamously and bogusly fueled a Bush administration claim used to invade Iraq about Saddam Hussein training al-Qaeda to make poison gas. So, yeah, you cannot trust somebody who's in a cage that you've tortured to give you accurate information. That leads you to war. So, yeah, you know, this is the kind of BS that then makes the news. I mean, the type of stuff that gets you to war, claims about another country and some sinister things they're doing, leads you to war. And yet these media outlets and the politicians, they don't care about any of that. They don't care if it leads to war. They don't care what the ultimate outcome is. They make these wild claims because in this particular case, you know that they only did it for political gain. They were trying to get Trump out of office. So what they were doing is they were saying, oh, you know, that there's this claim that Russia put bounties on U.S. troops. What are you going to do about it, Trump? What are you going to do? Nothing. Oh, look, Trump does nothing when Russia puts bounties on U.S. troops. He does nothing. He's a terrible president. Oust him from office. That was the narrative. That is what they were going for. And that is extremely dangerous. To pit us up against a country like Russia and to make U.S. citizens believe that Russia is the sinister enemy that is putting bounties on U.S. troops is dangerous. And talk about misinformation, talk about fake news. Where is the accountability for that? Where is the accountability against our politicians when they make these wild claims based on pretty much verifiably false information? You've got a detainee trying to get out of jail. You've got no one else saying it, just this one dude saying, like, let me out. The Russians did it. I just got paid by the Russians. That's all I was doing. That is so completely careless. And I honestly, talk about being impeached. Like every single one of our politicians that ran with this narrative, that was going around spouting it off at media outlets or using it in some way against, as a talking point for re-election or against the election of Donald Trump. This is just, this type of stuff engaging in rhetoric that will get us to war or engaging in rhetoric that furthers a new Cold War is so completely outrageously dangerous. And now here we are finally. And of course, this doesn't make the headlines, right? So everybody out there in the world is still believing, at least all the people in America that don't read the deep news in the deep sections that nobody looks at, they're all still thinking that Russia put bounties on U.S. soldiers' heads. That's what they still think. And then these stories come out and nobody hears them. But the reality is is that our U.S. intelligence now admits low information, low confidence. It's probably not true.